Legacy Park. So, on an important evening of Championship Rugby League, the Championship round 23 gets underway with the top three all playing in action this evening. Here in South Yorkshire, it's Sheffield against Bradford, 902 miles in the Pink City. It's Toulouse Olympique against the York Knights. It's certainly a big, important evening for the Championship as it reaches round 23. So Sheffield Eagles with first use of the ball. We have had 20 seconds gone on the clock. Referee Ryan Cox whistle to lips, and it's Martin Riley playing the ball just outside of the Eagles' 20-metre line now as Sheffield look to cut clear up and over halfway, and it was Chris Wellham who got the ball back there to Jaden Billy, and Billy has been penalised here for a shirt pull by referee Ryan Cox. There's going to say there's been obstruction here, and we've just seen Sheffield apply the afterburners. A big call here from the young St Helens official Ryan Cox, and it was great legwork there from Chris Wellham. He was the player who took the pass on the outside from Corey Johnson, who's in the halves. Corey Johnson, who's in the halves alongside Danny Craven this evening. So I think Brian Noble might just have a little look there at Bradford's left edge defence, because Chris Wellham went through a huge gap there, but the official Ryan Cox has deemed that there was a Bradford player impeded as they tried desperately to tackle Jaden Billy. Bradford now 25 out from the Sheffield line with Zach Fulton. York have just scored right at the start of the second half. Toulouse Olympique 8. York Knights 8 as Bradford now are 20 out here with Holmes. He's got the dancing feet, he's got the dinner jacket, gives it to Blake, and Blake is brought down 10 metres out. This is a very, very good, strong first set of 6 for the Bradford Bulls, and they're 10 out with Lilly giving the ball and scooping it to Logan Bayliss, the Scotland international. The Australian plays the ball, 2 out, last tackle, Keys to Holmes, Holmes pass to Armitage, Armitage in at the corner, a spectacular one-arm put down under defensive pressure from Corey Johnson and Chris Wellham, but it is Guy Armitage who opens the scoring. We've had barely 2 minutes gone on the clock here, and Guy Armitage, try 13 of the season, the Westminster born former rugby union graduate, turned to league. He opens the scoring here for the Bradford Bulls, and you've got to say Sheffield might be a little bit aggrieved that they conceded that penalty for someone pulling the shirt of a Bradford defender. I was watching the action with the break from Chris Wellham up to halfway, who then found the outside ball to Jaden Billy, the former Huddersfield Giants academy man. But referee Ryan Cox has seen an infringement, and Bradford have benefited, and I think that will really please Brian Noble, that Bradford have started the stronger of the two. Well, Brian Noble is on the field here now, is pitch side, clearly having a word with both Kieran Gill and Guy Armitage, because the break from Wellham and then the support on the wing from Billy, Jaden Billy, that might have just got him a little bit under the pump, as it is. Jordan Lilly taking over the goal kicking from Luke Cooley, despite Luke Cooley being 17 from 17 on the bounce. Kick predictor turned on here, and it's saying 64% for Jordan Lilly. A perfect summer's evening here in the Steel City as Jordan Lilly from the touchline. That one ice cold from Jordan Lilly. It's Sheffield Eagles 0, Bradford Bulls 6 here. And you've got to say, Guy Armitage, when he put that ball down right in this main stand corner, there was very, very little wiggle room for the former Toulouse man to manoeuvre. A very, very spectacular acrobatic dive in at the corner. Officials were good. Gaz joining us from Greece is in Xantic with the family. We've already mentioned Molly joining us from Keswick in the Lake District. We've got Philip in Northumbria. We've got David joining us from Accrington. Andy's joining us from Lee. And Bradford Bulls on the restart here, moving the ball out of their own 20-metre line here with Kieran Gill. As always, next break in play, we'll go through the Sheffield side and then the Bulls side, for those that have joined us just a little bit late. Kick off a little bit earlier here this evening, 7:30 on West Yorkshire Radio, West Yorkshire Rugby League. York leading Toulouse 10 points to 8. Liam Harris with the conversion attempt. There's 28 minutes left there. We've had 4 minutes gone here. Bradford on the restart, 10 shy of halfway with Zach Fulton. Fulton's brought down there by Tardis Gwaze, and here goes Michael Lawrence up and over halfway, and Lawrence has surged forward, and Bradford have made it to the last after points. George is joining us in Scarborough. Here we go with Keys, back on halfway, high hanging kick. Sends that one down towards the former Yorkman, Matty Marsh, and he returns possession for the Sheffield Eagles, just shy of his own 20-metre line. So if you are just joining us a little bit late, the Eagles making 3 changes this evening. Dawson Jones, Riley and Oakes coming in for Walker, Batty and Aston. They're just outside their own 20-metre line here as Chris Hill with the black scrum cap helps Jordan Lilly to bring down Billy, and now it's going to be Martin Riley carrying the ball forward, 15 shy of halfway, tackle number 4. If you are just joining us, it's Bradford 6, Sheffield 0 after Guy Armitage scored on Bradford's first possession, first opportunity inside the Eagles' half. Titus Gwaze will get to his feet. He'll play the ball. It's going to be a last tackle kick here from Danny Craven. The 33-year-old targets Hooley. Hooley takes that one on his 10 up to the 20, 25, 30 out. 20 shy of halfway. Bradford back in possession. We've had 5 minutes gone here on West Yorkshire Radio. Bulls TV, Eagles TV. We're talking about syndication. We're everywhere this evening here. Make the game caller Gledel. And it's going to be Jaden Ockenbaugh who's brought down 15 shy of halfway. Lily now to Gill. Missed the game against Doncaster a fortnight ago with the delayed concussion. Picked up in that big derby win over the Halifax Panthers. Chris Hill on halfway. Doesn't fancy drawing in Marcus Green as Bradford move the ball from left to right, and it's over on the far stand side here with the Fijian international Wonga Blake. He's 30 metres out, brought down there by one of those 9 former Bradford men, Dawson Jones, back in centre field here with Keys to Lawrence. Lawrence brought down in a 2-man tackle by Harry Bowes, and he's forced the error as Harry Bowes. Bowes has forced the error, the former Featherstone Rovers man, so that will be a scrum head and feed here to the Sheffield Eagles. It was on tackle number 4, and they're going to opt for the scrum 20 shy of halfway. So Sheffield Eagles, 3 changes that we made. Matty Marsh at fullback, wing 3-quarter line of Jaden Billy, Chris Wellham, Matty Dawson-Jones and Ryan Miller. The halves are Corey Johnson and Danny Craven. The forwards, Marcus Green, Harry Bowes, Martin Riley. Back row, Brad Gallagher, Jack Bussey. Loose forward, Titus Gwaze. Bradford, same as you were against Doncaster, with just that change with Kieran Gill coming in for George Tafua. York have gone back-to-back in the south of France. They now lead by 16 points to 8 here at Olympic Legacy Park. It's Sheffield 0, Bradford 6. Just over 6 gone on the clock with Titus Gwaze in possession here, the Zimbabwean. 2 Zimbabweans in the Eagles side. Massimo Tongo, he'll make his 100th career appearance. A special evening for him off the interchange bench. Here goes Martin Riley back in the side. Didn't travel to Toulouse last week, and he's brought down 30 metres out. The former Widnes man, second time he's played for the Eagles. They're going to move it with Corey Johnson on this right-hand side. Bussey goes through a gap. There's no one there to take the pass, so he takes the tackle, and it's a penalty in front of the post on the last tackle. Logan Bayliss, Tom Holmes, penalised by referee Ryan Cox. It's right in front of the post here. I don't think Craig Lingard's going to even contemplate going for 2. They're going to put more pressure on this Bradford line. So a penalty apiece with 7 minutes gone on the clock here on West Yorkshire Radio. Bradford leading by 6 points to 0 after Guy Armitage's spectacular one-armed, athletic, acrobatic put down in the corner. We are talking millimetres. The touch judge liked it. Sheffield protested. Try given. Lily kicked from the touchline. Bradford now are forced to do a bit of defending after conceding that penalty on the last tackle. Fulton in defence over on that left-hand side. Craven has it. Finds Green, the former Bradford Bulls Academy forward. He's brought down 10 out, just the left-hand side of the post. Craven has it now. Misses Riley, finds Johnson. Lovely ball from Corey Johnson there to Jack Bussey. And Jack Bussey will cross at the right-hand side of the post. It's his second try in 2025 for the big, menacing Leeds-born forward. But you feel, after Sheffield conceded the penalty and Bradford went up the field and scored, Bradford conceded the penalty, and now the Eagles have returned and repaid that favour. Well, the former Featherstone, Toronto, London man, he's had many big Titanic tussles against the Bulls over the years. He'll enjoy that one. And that was that new look spine of the Eagles this evening of Craven and Corey Johnson, linking well. Bradford exposed defensively on the left. That's where Brian Noble came down from his vantage point at the back of this main stand early doors after that break from Wellham. Well, there is no Corey Aston for the Eagles, so it will be Chris Wellham, the former Hulkington Rovers, Salford man. Kick predictor turned on, 74%, but he's pushed it wide. Not quite the Don Fox moment, but that will please Craig Lingard that they have shown a response after conceding that penalty and that early try. West Yorkshire Radio, rugbyleague.com, Bulls and Eagles TV. Mick the Game Caller Gledhill here in South Yorkshire. Big crowd in attendance for this one. You'll be able to see, for those watching on the Vision, 4 or 5 coaches and minibuses in the car park that have brought the 800 Bradford fans down here for this one. So we're back underway via the boot of Jordan Lilly. As we said, Sheffield arriving back from the south of France, hurt, wounded from their biggest defeat of the season. No win in their last 8 games going back to early June. Can they pick up a big scalp against the Bulls here this evening? It's Sheffield 4, Bradford 6. Just shy of 10 minutes gone in this game. And there's an opportunity now for the Eagles, who go straight direct down the middle here with the Zimbabwean Titus Gwaze, the 26-year-old big impact player and leadership in abundance in the absence of Joel Farrell this evening. Sheffield on tackle 4 on the restart. Chris Hill and Lawrence in defence, bringing down Martin Riley. They're going to kick early here with Craven. Craven targets Okinbaugh, who drops back towards the 10. And Okinbaugh now will move it from the 10 up to the 20, up to the 30. He's made 20 metres forward there, and that's what Brian Noble likes about his wing three-quarter options, that they can return the ball and they can eat into early yardage. And here's Matty G, tackle 2, and Bradford 10 shy of halfway. Lily out of acting half now to Bayliss. Oh, big collision there from Logan. Bayliss there, he did go ball and all there on Brad Gallagher, I think, as we now see Bradford up and over halfway with Fulton. Fulton offloads the ball back to Keys. Keys can't quite go past Bussey and Gwaze. Crowd appealing for a penalty, none forthcoming. Bradford now inside the Eagles 20 with Hooley, and he's brought down 10 metres out. They're on the last tackle here, the Bulls, leading by 6 points to 4. Exactly 10 minutes gone in this one. Crossfield kick from Keys, finds Okinbaugh. It's gone through the fingertips of Armitage, apologies, and Kieran Gill was probing that one. Referee says knock on from Guy Armitage. Kieran Gill's efforts to ground the ball in the in-goal area in vain. Referee Ryan Cox saying that will be an error on the last tackle. So, Sheffield 4, Bradford 6 here. Bradford winning both meetings in League and Cup at Odsal, 36-20 in the 1895. A little bit closer and narrow in the league. Back in May, 32-20. Nathan Mason scoring 3 tries in those 2 games. He was named in the 21-man squad, not being able to get a look in, and with Bradford signing Zane Musgrove, you almost feel that might be his season done, barring any injuries. Here goes Martin Riley to Gwaze. Big collision there. Who was that? Oh, it was Matty G. Ball and all tackle there on Titus Gwaze. Bradford have Sheffield penned deep inside their own half, so it will be an early kick from Craven. It's bouncing along the floor, recovered there by Luke Cooley, and with 11 gone on the clock, it is Bradford who lead the Eagles by 6 points to 4. Well, we said it was going to be a half-past kick-off. It actually kicked off at 38 minutes past, or 22 minutes to, so almost feels like it's a 7:45 kick-off here this evening. Bradford on halfway here with Kieran Gill. Lilly to Holmes. Options here for Holmes. Bounces off Johnson, and somehow he body checked Johnson and went into the back of Wellham, and Wellham wrapped up the former Castleford Batley man. Once again, the Bulls faithful appealing for a penalty. None forthcoming. Chris Hill charges forward down the middle. Very direct running there, straight into Riley and Green. Bradford on the last, 30 metres out. Holmes to Keys. Keys now targets Blake. Balls come forward off Matty Marsh. That's going to be a knock-on against the Eagles. So he's done well there, Joe Keys, forcing the error from the former York man, who's had opportunities limited in 2025 due to injury. So second Sheffield error in this game. It does earn the Bradford Bulls a repeat set of 6. Well, when we spoke to Brian Noble and asked him about his expectations this evening, he wanted a cleaner start than in the previous games. He wants to limit the errors and penalties that play into the opposition hands, certainly, especially in the opening quarter when sides like Sheffield are able to go toe-to-toe and front-load that energy. Bradford having that freshness from the week off, from the base of the scrum. Lilly will drop the shoulder and he will take it in underneath the post. 2 metres out. Guaze wrapping up the former Leeds man. Here goes Holmes to Lawrence. Lawrence to Keys. Keys. Lovely ball over the top. And you guessed it. It is that man again. It's Jaden Okinbaugh who scores out wide, in at the corner. He's now scored 10 tries in his last 8 games straight, including 2 against Widnes and Oldham, and he's celebrating that new deal into 2026 in the best form of the season. And you've got to say on Jaden Okinbaugh, few players have arrived on the championship scene like Jaden Okinbaugh. The former Canterbury winger certainly gets fans' bums off the seats with his breathtaking speed and pace. And as we said, he's now scored 10 tries in his last 8 outings for Bradford. Try number 17 of the season. But do not take anything away from Joe Keys there and his passing, his organisation. That ball went straight out over the top, and Manny Dawson-Jones and Ryan Miller, they were just left as passengers. In at the corner for Jaden Okinbaugh, just past the 15th minute mark here, and Bradford have scored their second try. That will not please Craig Lingard, the ease in which Okinbaugh had that space to go past both Miller and Dawson-Jones on the far stand side. So, can Lilly against the kick predictor? This time it's saying 69%. Right on that far stand touchline. The sun's starting to fade here. Lilly going into this with the boot. He was 51 from 66. And it's another superb touchline conversion from Jordan Lilly. That could be the difference come the end, but Bradford open up a 2-score lead here. Sheffield Eagles 4, Bradford Bulls 12. And it's still Toulouse Olympique 8, York Knights 16 in the south of France. Should that result stand, what a game on Saturday night we've got for you. Next Saturday, when Toulouse Olympique travel to West Yorkshire to face the Bradford Bulls for Saturday Night Fever. Ryan Cox, tonight's big game referee. 5th time he's taken charge of Bradford in 2025. Put whistle to lip, and it will be Chris Hill, the England international, who carries Bradford on the restart here. 10 out from their own try line. Hoolin in an acting half now to Bayliss. Bayliss just trying to skittle himself past Harry Bowes and Marcus Green. Chris Hill, second carry on this set. Bradford on tackle 3. 20 metres shy of halfway. We've had 18 gone on the clock. Lawrence now to Keys to Fulton. Fulton's going to be brought down 5 shy of halfway. Tackle 4. Sheffield tackling tenaciously, trying to stop that Bradford go forward and momentum as Michael Lawrence makes 10 metres now, and Bradford 10 inside the Eagles half on that 5th and last tackle. Lilly goes to the right to Keys. Once again, another aerial assault from Joe Keys. This time, Ryan Miller does well, takes this one under pressure from Bayliss, Hooley, Lilly and Fulton. Good kick chase pressure there. Coaches call it box kicking. Just negates the opportunity for the wingers or centres to really do anything. Well, Brian Noble will be pleased thus far after those slow starts against Doncaster, Halifax and Widnes in the last couple of games. Certainly, when you're coming up against sides in any capacity, regardless of where they are in the table, you know, you're always in for a tough physical evening or afternoon, and Sheffield did start vigorous with that early break and opportunity. They're on the last tackle now, just shy of halfway. Matty Marsh somehow gets the ball out, and the kick comes in from Harry Bowes. He finds Armitage, and Armitage returns serve 10 shy of halfway. Excellent meters there from Guy Armitage. If you are just joining us, it is Sheffield Eagles 4, Bradford Bulls 12. Guy Armitage and Jaden Ockimore crossing for the Bradford Bulls. Bradford now with Wonga Blake over on that right-hand edge. Craven comes in, tries to stop Blake offloading the ball. Miller, second man in, succeeds. Ockimore was calling for it. Blake just takes the tackle. Here goes Keys now to Holmes, to G. Good defence there from the former Wakefield man. Harry Bowes went for the right angle of Manny G, and he's managed to fell the former London Sheffield man. But all of a sudden, Brian Noble bringing on the interchange, the reinforcements, and Eben Skers playing it 10 out on the last. Keys takes the line on to Blake. Blake's over, is he? No, he's not. Great goal line defence from the Sheffield Eagles. Matty Marsh putting his body on the line alongside Manny Dawson-Jones, and it remains Sheffield Eagles 4, Bradford Bulls 12 here on Eagles TV, Bulls TV, West Yorkshire Radio and rugbyleague.com. Well, the Eagles in 2025, they've used 44 different players. For the Bradford Bulls, they've used 28 for those that like a little bit of a stat. You might have just heard the cheers in the background. That's because Masi Matongo has just come on, the 29-year-old former Bradford man. He makes his 100th career appearance tonight. Certainly deserves it. He's had a very, very difficult career, plagued with injuries, but he just keeps going as Sheffield kick early, looking for a 40-20, but Ockimore is back to deal with the danger, and the former Canterbury Bulldogs man will return the ball 15 shy of halfway. If you are just joining us here, we've coming towards the end of the first quarter, 19 minutes gone, and it remains Sheffield 4, Bradford 12, but somehow Armitage has found Gill, and Gill's away and finds Holmes on the outside, and Bradford just like that, early in the tackle count, tackle 2, Guy Armitage took the ball up to halfway, found Gill on the outside, and then it was Gill who drew in Wellerman Marsh, and it's Holmes on the outside, and Tom Holmes crosses. Bradford's third try this evening. Tom Holmes over for try 7 of the season. And we've just hit slap bang on 20 minutes gone here, and Bradford have further extended their lead. And this will really please Brian Noble, because the flair, the fluidity, the execution there, the rhythm, good rugby league football played by the Bulls. And somehow Guy Armitage managing to get that ball out as he was falling towards the ground on halfway. There were 3 Sheffield Eagles defenders, and from the moment he found Kieran Gill, it was red flag time for the Sheffield Eagles. 16 points to 4. Once again, it's right in this main stand corner. Kick predictors notched up a little bit. Lily 2 from 2 so far, 74% now, says the kick predictor this evening. So exactly 20 minutes gone here in this game this evening. 3 well-worked scores from the Bulls. Jack Bussick with the response from the Eagles. Referee stopping the clock here because Jordan Lilly has taken the full 80 seconds. It's still Toulouse Olympique 8, York 16. in the closing moments of that game. It will be a 16th consecutive win for the York Knights as Jordan Lilly makes it 3 from 3. Another superb touchline conversion from Jordan Lilly. 3 from 3 for Lilly. A perfect 3 from Armitage, Ockenbaugh and Holmes. Sheffield Eagles 4, Bradford Bulls 18 here at Olympic Legacy Park. Well, we said it's an important evening of Championship Rugby League, and it certainly is, with the top 3 all playing in action at the same time. Toulouse led York 8-4 at half-time, but it's looking like York are going to extend that winning run, which puts pressure on the Bulls and Toulouse. If that result stands and Bradford get the job done this evening, that game at Odsal next Saturday, it could end up being a straight shootout for second. Who gets the week off? Who gets the home advantage in the semi-finals? Referee Ryan Cox penalises Sheffield on the restart. They're offside. Only Bradford's second penalty, or the third penalty of the game, and that is down to the haste and the quickness of Bradford's ruck speed and playing the ball. So if you are just joining us, 22 minutes gone here, 18 to half-time, Sheffield 4, Bradford 18. Eben Skirt goes rampaging forward. He's brought down tackle 1. Now it's going to be Chris Hill who goes down the middle, and he goes on the right, and he finds Keys, and Keys goes past 1, past 2. Joe Keys finds Hooley. Hooley's brought down 5 metres out underneath the Eagles' post. Bradford are looking very ruthless here at Olympic Legacy Park this evening. Jordan Lilly wins the set restart because the Eagles are all over the young 9, and we're now moving it on the left here with Keys. A chance for G. The former Halifax man has the door slammed shut by Massimo Tongo. So tackle count resets, reloads. Here goes Eben Skirt taking Titus Quasi and Bussy with him underneath the post. 5 metres out, dead set central. They move it on this right-hand side. Keys to Fulton. Fulton surging over the line, and somehow Zach Fulton has got the ball down for a 4th try in this opening half for the Bradford Bulls. Zach Fulton, his 9th try of the season, and you've got to say, when you look at Zach Fulton and Matty G, 2 of the Championship's most impressive back row forwards, between them they've played 53 games. Certainly their work rate goes under the radar at times, and you've got to say they really do add and bring something to the Bradford Bulls, allowing off the back of the forward play to get further on the front foot during games, and not just to mention how crucial they are as a link between the halves and the spine and creating space for that 3/4 line to cause mayhem. But that was just brute force and determination there from Zach Fulton. I think Craig Lingard will be very, very disappointed with how that one has gone. A 4th try in this first half, 24 minutes gone on the clock, and Sheffield already looking like they might be facing a bit of a long evening here. Kick predictor here, 94%. It's at the right-hand side of the post as Jordan Lilly converts another 2 points. It's Sheffield Eagles 4, Bradford Bulls 24. We've had 4 different try scorers from the Bulls: Armitage, Ockenbaugh, Holmes and Fulton. Lilly's 4 from 4. West Yorkshire Radio, rugbyleague.com. Bulls and Eagles TV. Well, we mentioned Bradford have had that weekend off, and I mentioned and referenced that to Brian on Tuesday at the Bradford press conference. You know, the freshness, and this is what Brian said. He feels the freshness is there to be taken advantage of, when certainly, on the flip, Sheffield have had far less preparation for this game, having arrived back in the UK Sunday evening from their trip to Toulouse. Much better defensively here from Sheffield on the restart. Chris Hill nearly forced back in the in-goal area, but Michael Lawrence and Hooley just added a little bit of a weight buffer to stop Chris Hill going further back towards the line. And Bradford now moving it out of their own 20 with Fulton. Fulton to Lawrence. Lawrence, well, he's almost rolling back the ears to his loose forward wing days, Michael Lawrence there, the former Huddersfield man. Next 15 metres, Bradford 20 shy of halfway. They spread the ball with Holmes. Holmes bounces off Johnson, wrapped up there by Bussey. Tackle 4, 1 to go on this set on the restart. We've got 14 minutes to go to half-time here, and Bradford leading 24 points to 4. Eben Skur carries Bradford 5 shy of halfway. The two Zimbabweans, Gwazi and Matongo, bringing down Eben Skur, and it will be Joe Key's boot to ball along the floor, picked up there by Matty Marsh, who will turn defence into attack, giving the ball to one of those 9 former Bradford men, Ryan Miller, who's brought down just outside the 20. Corey Johnson and acting half, Jaden Billick pushed back there. Look at that defence there from Chris Hill and Michael Lawrence. Don't miss many tackles, don't the experienced leaders of the Bradford Bulls prop forward department. Don't forget, at half-time we'll give you a full debrief of what's happened this week in Rugby League, and certainly some of the big-name championship transfers that have taken place this week. Sheffield on halfway here with Blake Broadbent, who's just come on the field. Massi Matongo tramples all over Lilly, but he can't get past Skur and Fulton. They're on the last tackle here, the Eagles. Harry Bowes out of acting half to Craven, the former Widnes man, goes long and high. Ockenbaugh takes that 2 metres out from his own try line, and he now turns defence into attack. And as we said, Brian Noble certainly, when we spoke on Tuesday, believing that the freshness could be an advantage for the Bradford Bulls. That might not become apparent until the second half, once Bradford have managed to absorb that early Sheffield Eagles energy and momentum. Well, Bradford just having to roll the sleeves up a little bit now after those 2 quick-fire scores. Suter on. Also, the Island International, Ronan Michael, one of 4 ever presents in this Bradford side, as Michael Lawrence goes through a half gap there, and he's brought down 5 shy of halfway. Good defence there from Bussey and Gwazi. Suter now is just generating the speed, the ruck speed, and Bradford up and over halfway here with Eben Skur. The 10 metres inside the Eagles half on the last. Keys floats one up, targets Miller. Miller does well under pressure there from Fulton and Suter, and now it's the Eagles back in possession here at Olympic Legacy Park. Well, as we said, Brian Noble, he'll be absolutely delighted that Bradford have just conceded 1 penalty and 1 error in this first half. That certainly points to a cleaner, more respectful stat in terms of respecting the opponents, the opposition and the ball itself. Wellham plays the ball 5 shy of halfway. Here goes Gwazi, now to Craven. Craven up and over halfway. Sheffield have gone without the ball there, and that is going to be another error from the Eagles. That's their 4th scrum head and feed to Bradford on halfway. Well, if you are just joining us, we have 11 minutes or so to go to half-time. Bradford making the 1 change, the sole change, and that is Kieran Gill for George Tafua. Sheffield making 3 changes this evening, with Jack Walker leaving for the Super League, and it's Martin Riley for Eddie Batty, Oakes for Aston. We'll talk more about one of Bradford's new signings at half-time, the 29-year-old Australian forward, Zane Musgrove, who signed with the Bulls until the end of the season. As Bradford nearly make a meal of it out of the base of the scrum. They've lost 10 metres from where it was on halfway. Keys recovering possession. Not quite sure what happened there. I think there was a bit of resistance and pushing from the Eagles' front row forwards in that scrum. Hooley has it tackled too. They're still not where the scrum took place, and they're still not where it is now with Ronan Michael on tackle 3. So the Eagles showing a response. Now they're up and over halfway with Keys to Hooley. Hooley takes on Craven and Dawson Jones and gets the ball to Blake. And Blake now looks towards the Eagles line and keeps it going further still. Sheffield dropping off tackles, allowing Bradford to play here as Eben Skur ends up with possession for Bradford. 15 metres out, just to the left-hand side of the post. Sheffield 4, Bradford 24 here at Olympic Legacy Park. It's another set restart the Eagles have conceded as Tom Holmes beats 1, beats 2, Can he do it all himself? No, he can't. Massimo Tongo comes in and wraps him up a metre out from the Eagles' line, but that will not please Craig Lingard. The Eagles there conceding another set restart late in the day as Keys takes the line on, drops the shoulders, but he is brought down there by Rhys Butterworth. Ball moves on the right-hand side, and that is simple. Well, that's far too easy. Suter straight out of acting half to Luke Cooley, and Luke Cooley crosses try number 5 of the season, and this has been sub-first half from the Bradford Bulls. 32 minutes gone here at Olympic Legacy Park. 5 tries, 5 different scorers. Hooley gets on the try-scoring act, joining Armitage, Ockimbo, Holmes and Fulton. Well, let me tell you, that was all down to Eben Skur, who won that set restart. He had 4 Sheffield defenders around him. They could not get back in time. They were offside. They weren't square. Referee Ryan Cox giving Bradford their 3rd set restart in this first half. And all of a sudden, this one is blowing out here in South Yorkshire. 28 points to 4. 33 gone on the clock. Lilly will hand over the goal kicking to Luke Hooley, because Mitch is on the field, and it's really interesting, that conundrum, how Brian Noble manages and works that. Jordan, very, very used to doing the full 80 minutes, but he's certainly going to have to do a little bit of sharing and caring in that department. Well, the Bulls certainly catching the Eagles with their pants round their ankles on that play. That was just simple. Suter, direct ball into the arms of Hooley, and Hooley from 10 metres out. There was a massive gap. No exaggeration from myself, but I think even if I fired up the legs, could have crossed there. But Craig Lingard probably just wants half-time at this stage in this game. Well, we heard from Paul Broadbent pre-match. He wants Sheffield to turn up this evening with the same effort and energy which frustrated Toulouse for long periods on Saturday. That has sadly not been the case, but they did show last Saturday for a good 60 minutes when it was 16 points to 6. Sheffield, as they have done here against York previously, they can go toe-to-toe before that last quarter collapse. Hooley, can he make it 18 on the bounce? Yes, he can. 1 from 1 with a boot this evening, and Bradford hit 30. Sheffield Eagles 4, Bradford Bulls 30. Bradford, you've got to say, they're in cruise control now as we head towards half-time. Well, certainly much cooler here this evening. It was 21 degrees at kick-off this evening against 38 on Saturday in the south of France. Eagles TV, Bulls TV, West Yorkshire Radio. Make the game caller Gleddle here as Danny Craven puts boot to ball on the restart. We've got 6 minutes to go to half-time, and it's going to be Hooley now to Ronan Michael. Brought down there by Butterworth and Broadbent. Tackle 1, 10 metres out. Suter. Now to Fulton. On the 20. Tackle 2. Suter once again just upping the ante in terms of the ruck speed as Logan Bayliss breaks clear. This could be more points here for the Bulls. Bayliss up and over halfway. Bayliss finds Holmes on the inside, and Tom Holmes will skip underneath the post. There's only referee Ryan Cox keeping pace, and he points the finger, and it's 6 tries in a barn-burning, blistering first half here in South Yorkshire. Everything is clicking for the Bradford Bulls. And their 800 or so supporters, they bang the drum, they bang the advertisement hoardings. They're enjoying this one. 4 minutes to half-time. And with it underneath the post, Hooley will add an extra 2. And Bradford, they've not been in this position for a number of weeks. You've probably go back to that first half against Oldham when they led by a similar margin. But Logan Bayliss there, he just threw himself past 1, past 2, and he rolled back the clock, did Logan Bayliss, back to his Mackay Cutters, Brigsburn Tigers, Queensland Cup days. York have 2 players in the sin bin in the south of France. James Vella sending York down to 11, but time running out for Sylvan Houlace's side. It's Toulouse 8, York 16. Into time added on here at Olympic Legacy Park. You've got to say, Tom Holmes, the support play there. He backed up that run by Logan Bayliss. And Hooley now, kick predicted 100%. This is almost certainly going to be Bradford out to a lead of 32 points here this Friday evening, which Hooley does. Sheffield Eagles 4, Bradford Bulls 36. Holmes with a double in this first half. He takes his try-scoring total to 8 for the season. And the former Cass Locklane Jr., who made his Super League debut for Castleford back in 2015, he is certainly enjoying this one against one of his former clubs, the Sheffield Eagles. West Yorkshire Radio, rugbyleague.com, Eagles TV, Bulls TV, back underway via the boot of Danny Craven. Here goes Ronan Michael, the Ireland international. 7 appearances for Ireland since 2018. And the former York Huddersfield man is brought down underneath his own post, 10 metres out. 2 minutes to half-time. Bradford break clear again with G. Oh, look at this from Matty G. He's up and over halfway. Finds Suter on the inside. Suter towards the line. He gives it to Armitage. Bradford go back-to-back. They've gone coast to coast. They've gone 100 metres from the kick-off, from the restart. That is spectacular, breathtaking, eye-catching rugby league football. Bradford, they're beating the clock. We're in the 38th minute, and it's Sheffield 4, Bradford 40. Well, what on earth were the Eagles' defensive structure doing there? Because Matty G, there was a huge gap, and he just did what Logan Bayliss did. He just busted straight through down the middle. Suter took the ball early. Matty Marsh was still giving chase, but then Suter realising Marsh was hot in pursuit. The ball went further out wide to Armitage, and he has crossed in at the corner. Sheffield Eagles 4, Bradford Bulls 40 here at Olympic Legacy Park. Armitage now joins Holmes with 2 tries in this first half. The hooter sounds. What a first half from the Bradford Bulls. Well, Craig Lingard and Paul Broadbent, the Eagles coaching staff, what on earth do they do here at half-time? Because Bradford absolutely coasting. And you've got to say, Brian Noble, we mentioned it about the Bradford freshness factor. 2 weeks off the Bulls, the freshness, it's there to be taken advantage of. And Bradford in absolutely ruthless mood this evening. Kick predictor here for Luke Hooley. Can he make it 20 straight conversions? It's 5 metres in from touch. Hooley, pinpoint accuracy there from the former Leeds Castleford Batley man. And half-time here at Olympic Legacy Park, 22nd of August. 2025, the Eagles put boot to ball, and we're up and away here at a very dark, gloomy Olympic Legacy Park. Bradford first use of the ball in this second half. They scored 7 tries in that first half. Can they add to that total? Well, Craig Lingard come out looking absolutely determined and steely-faced here at the Steel City. Determined that his Sheffield side show a response after conceding those late tries in the final 10 minutes of the first half. Bradford already up to halfway here with Zach Fulton. Fulton's brought down in a 2-man tackle, led there by Craven and former Bradford man Brad Gallagher. Suter's in there at acting half, gives the ball to Blake. Blake's rolled over by Butterworth and Massimo Tonga. They're on the last tackle here, the Bradford Bulls. Suter to Keys. Keys, a high hanging kick, put under pressure there by Butterworth. And that is a good take there from Matty Marsh, the former Yorkman. Well, you might have just heard James Ford, the former Featherstone and York head coach, who was just passing and dropped by for a little bit of an impromptu chat. As we said, certainly a number of clubs are expected to change their head coach in the off-season. Batley just one of a number of those. The Bradford Bulls, one of those as well. So, Sheffield, first opportunity here in this second half. They've not played the ball in the correct spot, so Ryan Miller is going to have to go back just outside the Eagles 20. Butterworth now. Chance here for Sheffield to just build a little bit of momentum and get a little bit of rhythm going. They've not had too much ball in that first half, and when you think about it, 7 tries conceded and 3 penalties and the free set restarts. The possession at half time, don't have the live stats, but it must almost have been 70 to 30. They're going to kick early on tackle number 4 from Corey Johnson because they're penned in deep inside their own half. Hooley takes that one from the 30, and here goes Luke Hooley. Luke Hooley skips past one. He's got Dawson Jones in pursuit. Dawson Jones wraps him up, and he's 20 metres out now from that Sheffield Eagles try line. They're in centre field now with Suter to Holmes, who's on the hat-trick, to G, to Gill. Welcome back, Kieran Gill. Bradford open the scoring 3 minutes after the interval restart, and it's going from bad to worse here for the Sheffield Eagles. It's Sheffield 4, Bradford 46. We've had 3 minutes gone at the start of the second half, an 8th try for the Bulls, and Kieran Gill, who missed the last Gill's TV, and that caused Sheffield to just shift and drift from the centre field position. And once again, not for the first time, I hope Craig Lingard, who's watching this, or any of the Sheffield players, unfortunately, it's just the haste and speed from the ruck that Mitch Suter brings that has just crumbled any nous of defensive structure in this Sheffield side. So, Kieran Gill, try 15 of the season for him. Hooley, 5 or so metres in from touch on that far stand side. As we said, Bradford travelling here in big, large numbers this evening. Hooley, is this going to be consecutive conversion attempt number 21? It is, Sheffield 4, Bradford 48. And Bradford now very firmly going ahead of the clock here at Olympic Legacy Park. Kieran Gill with the first try of the second half. Hooley goes out to 4 from 4. Bradford in a very, very determined, ruthless kind of mood this evening at Olympic Legacy Park. West Yorkshire Radio, rugbyleague.com. It's the Eagles 4, the Bulls 48. And we've still got 36 minutes to go in this game. And if this continues, this try scoring, let me tell you, the notepad and pen are going to expire. Wonder if there's a W.H. Smith's anywhere. Anyway, Bradford back on the restart here, just outside their own 20-metre line. Hungry for more points, you sense, as Eben Skur draws in that Eagles defence, but not before he's made 10, 15 metres forward, and he's playing the ball there, Eben Skur, 15 shy of halfway, and Bradford are stacked up on that left-hand side, and here goes Kieran Gill again. Kieran Gill's brought down 5 inside the Eagles' half. That had to be a ball-and-all tackle there from the Eagles. Hooley gives it to Bayliss. Bayliss fronts up. Ockenbaugh and Blake are calling for it. 30 metres out, dead set central. They're on the last, and it's going to be Keys who puts boot to ball under pressure from Butterworth. He looks forward Blake. Miller takes it. Miller's trapped 5 out from his own line. Once again, Joe Keys, his organisation, his influence, just kicking the Eagles down an alley here as Matty Dawson-Jones is heading back towards the try line, but he's just put the handbrake on. We saw that move and play against Doncaster late on last time out. Bradford narrow victors by 18 points to 12. This one's blown out by all proportions here. 5 gone in this second half. Bradford 48, Sheffield 4. What can the Eagles do here now? They had a tough, torrid second half against Toulouse Olympique in the searing heat last Saturday. A very short turnaround against a refreshed, re-energised Bradford Bulls. The Eagles on the last. That's gone straight down the throat there of Armitage on that far stand side, who floats it to Hooley. Hooley now gives it to Ockimbaugh. Ockimbagh's got that electric pace. He's lost the shorts there as Jaden Ockimbaugh. That's got the female fans excited. He'll have to play the ball and then put the shorts back on, which he does. Hooley goes in and acting half. Now to Blake. Blake's not getting past Gwazi, Butterworth and Matongo. Good defence there from the Eagles, but 3 have been taken out of that defensive line, and Bradford go hunting on that left-hand edge, and they do that with Tom Hobbs. Tom Hobbs to Kieran Gill. Kieran Gill from 30 metres out. It's 2 in 2 minutes for Kieran Gill, and he is dancing behind the post with the Bulls fans. Well, Kieran Gill, try 16 of the season for him. He joins Armitage and Holmes with a double this evening. And that was far too easy there for the Bradford Bulls. We mentioned Massimo Tongo, Titus Gwazi, Reece Butterworth, 3 defenders taken out of that defensive line, bringing down the big impact forwards. And it was just once again Mitch Suter. The speed, the haste. Mitch Suter, eyes like dinner plates, did the maths, did the arithmetic, realised there was 5 Bradford players against 3 Sheffield defenders. And to be fair, it could have been Armitage, it could have been Gill, it could have been Holmes who crossed for Bradford's 9th try of the evening. That one underneath the post, 52 points to 4 in the 48th minute. Hooley, kick predictor, 100%. Hooley's going to go out to 5 from 5. You feel Bradford in a very ruthless mood this evening. So we mentioned Hooley going into this game. He's converted and made his last 17 opportunities. This to make it 5 from 5 on the night, which would constitute 22 successful conversion attempts, which Hooley does. And it's Sheffield Eagles 4, Bradford Bulls 54. Bradford lead by 50. Well, I'm sure Sylvan Hooley's and Toulouse, when they do their review, they will be watching this and realising Saturday Night Fever at Odsal, a week on Saturday night, is certainly going to be one of their toughest tests of the season. Incidentally, Bradford-Toulouse games, always the pinnacle, in my unbiased opinion, of any championship season. Almost certainly you feel you might go the distance at Odsal next week. Well, there's still 29 minutes to go here at Olympic Legacy Park. Bradford beating the scoreboard and the clock. West Yorkshire Radio, rugbyleague.com. Bradford finding it a little bit tougher on this set, on the restart here. I'm sure Craig Lingard's got the message on and has just shifted a couple of his playing personnel, as Massimo Tongo does well, to stop Logan Bayliss, but here goes Keys, now to Fulton. Once again, Fulton's taken 3 defenders out of that defensive line, and Suter's already doing the arithmetic, and he's realising Bradford have extra men on the left-hand side, and that is where Bradford go. Now it's with Michael to Bayliss, no look ball to Holmes. Holmes is away, up and over halfway. Holmes shows and goes, and look at this from Tom Holmes, inside to Hooley, and Hooley goes over. Luke Hooley, try number 2 of the evening. It is a procession. Tom Holmes, he did all the hard work there. Hooley supported, drew in Marsh. Pass on the inside to Hooley, who goes around and underneath the post, and this one is blowing out in spectacular fashion here now at Olympic Legacy Park. We're in the 51st minute, and it's 58 points to 4, soon to be 60, because the try from Hooley, his second of the evening, Luke Hooley's 6th since joining the Bradford Bulls from Castleford. It's a perfect 10 for the Bulls. 10 ruthless scores. 10 perfectly executed scores. Well, this is men against boys stuff, and we mentioned that freshness factor, that could be something Bradford could take advantage of, and that's certainly becoming more and more apparent with each passing try that the Bulls score. This could get very, very ugly here for the Sheffield Eagles this evening. Well, Bradford won both meetings in League and Cup at Odsal. Narrow affairs, tight affairs. Bradford having to come from behind in both games to win 36-20 and 32-20. Well, the kick predictors at 100%. Hooley about to go to 6 from 6, you feel. And 23 consecutive conversion attempts successful. Bradford hit 60 here. 53 minutes gone. Sheffield 4, Bradford 60. 10 tries to 1. Well, it is West Yorkshire Radio, rugbyleague.com, Eagles TV, Bulls TV. We mentioned the West Yorkshire Radio halftime teaser. Sheffield Eagles have played at 12 temporary or permanent grounds since 1984. I don't think anybody got it. I'll go through them just quickly as the Eagles go short. It has gone 10 and the Eagles do have the ball back. So a welcome reprieve here for Craig Lingard's side. But starting with the first, the Owlton Stadium in 1984. They then played at Bramall Lane, Hillsborough, Saltergate in Chesterfield, Don Valley, Bellevue, Wakefield. They've played at Oakwell, Barnsley, Tattersfield in Doncaster, Clifton Lane as recently as 2005. They had a couple of seasons at the Eco Power Arena in Doncaster. And before moving here to Olympic Legacy Park, they played at Sheffield Hallam University. So there we go. I'm sure many people listening might have been to one or two of those games. But here come the Eagles. There's an opportunity here for them to score some points and test Bradford's defence. They've not had too many opportunities this evening thus far. They're playing the ball 10 metres out. Butterworth to Craven. Craven, no-look ball back on the inside to Gallagher. Gallagher gives it back to Butterworth. Comes off the bootlaces. Bounce of the ball is kind. And Rhys Butterworth, who spent last season on loan at the London Broncos, is wrapped up 15 metres out. So that wayward ball there, just losing a little bit of momentum here for the Eagles. They're on the fifth and last tackle as Martin Riley gives it to Danny Craven. Craven chips it up kindly there for Luke Hooley. And Bradford now a little bit of work to do from their own try line. We've still got 27 minutes to go in this game. 10 tries to 1. If Bradford maintain this and they stay in the mood, don't want to tempt fate, but that big win against West Wales Raiders a couple of seasons ago could be in doubt. Craig Lingard will be crossing his fingers and arms and legs. That is not the case, but Bradford just error-free rugby league, just one error so far in this game, and they're doing well after surviving that short kick-off from the Eagles as Chris Hill back out there on the field for his second spell. He's wrapped up 15 shy of halfway on what will be the last tackle. Much better defensive set here from the Eagles as Hooley sends one down towards Miller and Marsh. Marsh takes it, 10 out, gives it to Miller. Ryan Miller, who spent the 2022 season at Odsal. 21 appearances, 9 tries under John Keir. He returns the ball just outside the 20-metre line. Well, it's going to be very, very difficult to pick a man of the match in this game. No Kieran Gill summarising this evening. He's out on the field in place of George Tafua. Got to say, he's not got on the scoreboard, Joe Keys, but it's been his organisation. Mitch Shooter as well. Tom Holmes probably deservedly just in front at this moment, but there's still a long way to go in this game. 26 minutes, Bradford still beating the clock. 60 points to 4 as Titus Gwaze gets the ball up to halfway, and there's a chance here now for the Eagles as Corey Johnson kicks towards the corner. Guy Armitage and Tom Holmes forced to defend, and Tom Holmes safety first under that good kick chase pressure from Corey Johnson, the former Leeds Rhinos man. And Sheffield, with the scoreboard heavily against them, are showing some fight and response here. They have forced and earned a goal line dropout. So, 25 minutes to go in this game. Hooley from underneath his own post, just shy of halfway. Here come the Sheffield Eagles. Tackle one, 30 metres out, centre field. Butterworth in there in acting half. Martin Riley returning to action here for the Eagles. Started the season at Widnes, and he's rolled over 20 metres out underneath the post. 3 tackles left here. Bradford have just conceded a set restart. Tackle count goes back to 6. And here goes Danny Craven throwing in those running forwards. And all of a sudden, Bradford forced to do a bit of defending here. 60 points to 4 they lead. It's going to be Titus Gwazi to Martin Riley, and Riley's over. Short ball, short burst. And Martin Riley, he gets his first try on his second stint at the Sheffield club. I wrote in my commentary notes, yet to score for Sheffield, but he did score a couple for Widnes earlier on in the season when he made 15 appearances. And Martin Riley, he will celebrate that one. The Sheffield Eagles do show a response, do show a bit of fight. We're in the 57th minute here at Olympic Legacy Park. Sheffield 8, Bradford 60. And Chris Wellham will attempt this conversion attempt just from the left-hand side of the post. Well, that was good enterprising play there from the Sheffield Eagles, catching Bradford's sliding defence. Cold. Kick predictor here, 100% for Chris Wellham. Oh, he's pushed it wide again. Oh. Well, those 2 misses from Chris Wellham have been dead set central, and it remains Sheffield Eagles 8, Bradford Bulls 60. We mentioned to Brian Noble about the importance of the points for and against between Bradford and Toulouse. Toulouse obviously beating Sheffield 58-6 last Saturday. That then meant Bradford were behind in terms of their points and against. And yes, York have made it 16 wins on the bounce with a 16-8 victory against Toulouse this evening in the south of France. A win here for Bradford will move them level on points with Toulouse, and it is going to come down to points difference. Brian Noble, though, not getting too carried away. So we're back underway here at Olympic Legacy Park. Eagles TV, Bulls TV. Butterworth out of acting half. Tries to score to Riley. Brought down, 12 metres out. Gets to his feet. He'll play the ball. They're going over on this right-hand side here with Craven. And here come the Eagles as an opportunity. They're up and away. They're going to be brought down just shy of halfway. And that was a good little run there from Will Oakes, who's just come on the field. The former Bradford man. As Sheffield lose possession, but it's gone backwards. It's picked up here by Corey Johnson. And Corey Johnson's finally brought down there by Mitch Suter. Referee says play on. And here goes Titus Gwazi. Fronts up. Last tackle after points. The Eagles 20 out from the Bradford line. Craven kicks into the in-goal area. And Jaden Ockingbaugh forced to concede another goal line dropout. Well, this is all the Sheffield Eagles now. They're trailing by 60 points to 8. There's a lot of pride in this performance, and that's the very least Craig Lingard would have expected. As we've mentioned a number of times this evening as we head towards the hour mark here. Bradford host Toulouse at Odsal, Saturday Night Fever. Next Saturday, 6 o'clock. Sheffield host Featherstone Rovers here on the Sunday. And those games this weekend, Featherstone against Widnes tomorrow, big game that one at Post Office Road. Doncaster hosting Barrow, Hunshill at Batley, and London against Oldham. Well, Bradford have won the last 7 games between themselves and the Eagles. It's looking like it's going to be 8 on the spin. As Chris Whelan from the goal line dropout carries the Eagles inside the Bradford 20, and that was silly there. Bradford just holding on there when they don't really need to. And it's another set restart that's been given to the Eagles. Still just the 4 penalties from referee Ryan Cox. 3-1 in favour of the Bulls, but now Sheffield looking to go back-to-back as Corey Johnson gives the ball to Miller. Send it up over on that right-hand side, and that's good defence from Gill and Armitage. But Sheffield have lost 10 metres on that play. They're going to come back with Miller. Centre field. Gives it there to Gwaze. And look at Titus Gwaze go surging forward there. The former London Halifax man. He wants to get a quick play the ball in under pressure from Michael Lawrence and Sam Hallis. Referee Ryan Cox says he's got to go back and play it. Here goes Martin Riley. They've lost the ball here, the Eagles. Bradford have picked up possession, and that chance has come to nothing. Sheffield's second error in this second half, and that will see Bradford back in possession. So, Bradford moving the ball here with Chris Hill just outside their own 20-metre line. 2 tackles left on this set. Bradford starved of possession for a couple of minutes as Bradford look on that left edge again with G. Good defence though, it must be said, as they shift across there, do the Eagles, to cut out any potential offload or transference of the ball towards Gill and Armitage, as Lawrence takes tackle 5, and this is the last for the Bulls. Hooley has it. It's going to be Keys from inside his own 40. Kicks towards Marsh and Dawson-Jones. Matty Dawson-Jones is trapped just outside his own 20-metre line. Keys, who put boot to ball, has defensive reinforcements coming from Hallis and Suter. And you've got to say here at Olympic Legacy Park, the Eagles are just shy of 10 minutes now with not conceding any points. And I know we wouldn't normally praise that, but it's those small indicators that Craig Lingard will be looking as a motivational tool. Sheffield on halfway here with Corey Johnson to Miller. Ball's got into touch. Another error here from the Eagles. They know the game is gone, but they're certainly keeping it lively. Corey Johnson in the halves with Danny Craven this evening. There was certainly an opportunity up and over halfway there from the Eagles, but it was another error from Craig Lingard's side. Their 3rd in the second half, their 7th in the game, and it's going to be a play the ball to the Bradford Bulls 10 shy of halfway. Well, the Bulls faithful in this main stand and behind the post, they're going to be almost baying for more points in this one. It could very much come down to points for and against between Bradford and Toulouse for second spot. You've got to say, with the York Knights now on 36 points, 4 points clear of both Bradford and Toulouse, second place potentially comes down to that Saturday night fever game at Odsal next week. Sam Hallis lifted above the horizontal. Ryan Cox says penalty number 4 of the evening. That's gone the way of the Bulls. And this is going to be an opportunity now for Brian Noble's side to attack from deep. Hooley into touch. 25 out from the Eagles line. We've got people listening in the hot, sunny Caribbean. Well, it's just getting a little bit chilly here at Olympic Legacy Park. Bradford leading by 60 points to 8. Sheffield have done well to stem the try-scoring tide as Lawrence takes tackle number 2. 5 out underneath the post. Hallis has it. Holmes to Keys. Keys back on the inside. Luke Hooley will take the match ball home. Clever, instinctive, intrinsic passing there from Keys to Hooley. It opens up the Eagles' defence. And Luke Hooley started this evening on just 4 tries. He's up to 7 now. He's going to convert from in front, you feel. And it's an 11th score this evening by the Bradford Bulls. We're in the 66th minute here. There's still chance, you feel, for Bradford to beat the clock and potentially breach 80. It would be the highest championship score of the season, should that be the case. If Hooley converts this, he will equal it. And that was York Knight's 66-point victory over Doncaster a few weeks ago. Kick predictor once again, it's at 100% for Hooley. He's about to go 7 from 7. And 24 consecutive conversions, going right back to that away win against Batley. Hooley just looking at the ball, drawing that line. And it is an extra 2 to the Bulls. Sheffield Eagles 8. Bradford Bulls 66. There's 13 minutes to go here at Olympic Legacy Park. West Yorkshire Radio, rugbyleague.com, Bulls TV and Eagles TV. Mick the game caller Gledel. Well, Sunday afternoon, we're off to the John Smith Stadium. Huddersfield against Warrington. Luke Robinson under pressure after that heavy defeat at St Helens Sunday gone. Warrington looking to keep pressure on those playoff places, but time and games running out for Sam Burgess. Danny Craven once again goes short. Officials say it's cleared 10. Hooley takes that one, puts his body on the line there. And when you watch that on the vision, you'll see there's 3 red-shirted Eagles defenders wrapping him up. So Bradford back in possession on the restart. Kieran Gill wrapped up 10 shy of halfway, tackle 2. Lilly back on the field here for the final 11 minutes or so. Very, very difficult to say a definitive man of the match this evening, but we mentioned Tom Holmes, Luke Hooley. He has been irrepressive. Goal kicking, support play, defensively as well. Chris Hill down the middle. Bradford on the last tackle after points, 15 metres inside the Eagles' half. Joe Keys once again under pressure from Butterworth. Targets Matty Marsh. Beg your pardon, Ryan Miller underneath his own post. And Miller does well there. Takes the Eagles just outside the 10-metre line. So with 10 minutes to go here at Olympic Legacy Park, it's Sheffield Eagles 8, Bradford Bulls 66. It was 42 points to 4 at half time. And Wonga Blake has forced an error here from Manny Dawson-Jones. An 8th error here from the Eagles. And Bradford could be about to hit 70, you feel. 10 to go here. Well, I'll tell you what, if we could get the man of the match and cut it up into quarters, you'd give a quarter to Tom Holmes. Mitch Suter would take a quarter. So too would Joe Keys. And so too would Luke Hooley. There's been some outstanding performances individually and as a collective this evening for the Bradford Bulls. Coming here on a Friday night, never easy. Not many sides will come here and score 11, 12, potentially 13 tries. From the base of the scrum, 20 metres out, Bradford in the mood for more. Holmes, no-look ball to Armitage, and Armitage is defending and swatting those Eagle defenders off, and he's somehow gone past 4 or 5 Eagle defenders to get try number 12 of the evening for the Bulls. Well, Guy Armitage now joins Luke Hooley with taking a match ball home. A hat-trick for Armitage. And you've just got to say there, if there was any doubts, any questions about Bradford easing up in this game, with 8 minutes to go, Guy Armitage gets Bradford's 12th score of the evening. And with that, I have officially run out of room to write any more. How good's the mental memory, Michael? Wonga Blake's just getting some treatment for his left ankle, which doesn't appear to be too concerning. But it, once again, from that scrum, Luke Hooley, Keys, that ball from Holmes, It just missed 3 Sheffield defenders, but then they had to shift across, and they did exceptionally well, or it appeared at first hand they did well to stop Guy Armitage. But somehow that determination there from Guy Armitage to bust past 3 or 4 Eagles defenders. Well, it's 70 points to 8. Lily's back on the field. He takes over the goal-kicking duties from Hooley. Hooley remains at 7 from 7 and 24 consecutive. Lily is 4 from 4. This is 5th attempt. Can he convert Guy Armitage's 3rd of the evening? 5 metres in from touch. And that's the first miss of the evening by either Lily or Hooley. And it remains Sheffield 8, Bradford 70. 8 minutes to go here on West Yorkshire Radio, rugbyleague.com, Sheffield Eagles TV, and of course Bradford Bulls TV. So yeah, we've mentioned we're off to Huddersfield on Sunday. Next week we will have Bradford against Toulouse on the Saturday, and we'll be back here for Sheffield against Featherstone on the Sunday. Sheffield go short. Have they forced an error here from Jordan Lilly? Jordan Lilly saying there's an error apiece. Ryan Cox is going to say head and feed to Sheffield. Bradford's second error all evening, that. Brian Noble will absolutely be delighted with the completion rate of his side. Just 2 errors in nearly 80 minutes of rugby league action. Well, this will be the highest winning margin, the highest score in the championship this year, you feel. Bradford now have to do a bit of defending to do, trying to bring down 26-year-old Will Oakes, the former Hulkiston Rovers man, who's brought down 30 metres out from that line. Craven now looks for runners, finds one. Oh, and there's a bit of danger here for Jordan Lilly. Looks like Jordan Lilly might have dislocated the left or right arm. We'll wait and see in a minute. He's in a lot of pain, is Jordan Lilly, as Sheffield have gone without the ball again. It's been knocked on, though, by Kieran Gill. The ball went backwards from the Eagles. It wasn't an error. Bradford couldn't take it in, couldn't take advantage. If Kieran Gill takes that in, he's on for the hat-trick. Here is Sheffield, though. Former Bradford man Brad Gallagher spells at Newcastle. Hunsley now on loan here at Sheffield from Oldham. He's brought down 5 metres out, is Gallagher. Now it's going to be Craven. Riley just fronts up there, takes on Lawrence and Hill, offloads the ball behind. It goes to Craven. Craven crossfield kick. Wonga Blake saves the day. Pressure from Will Oakes and Dawson Jones. It's a 3rd goal line dropout that Sheffield have forced on the Bradford Bulls in this second half. Well, as always, we will get the post-match thoughts of Brian Noble at full time. We did want to talk a little bit at half-time about some of those new signings. One of those, Zane Musgrove, who has signed for the Bradford Bulls after his shock departure from Oldham earlier on this week. Certainly, a lot of people might have been expecting Ethan Ryan to come back to the Bradford Bulls, but that is certainly going to be a 2026 transfer. With the greatest respect to Ethan Ryan, Bradford's wing three-quarter line has scored 63 tries this year. I'll do the stats later on, but that might have just taken the Bulls ahead of York. And when players like George Tafua, the jukebox, are not getting in, would there be a place for Ethan Ryan? He has gone to Oldham for the end of the season. 2026, a possibility. Reece Butterworth kicks early from the goal line dropout. Guy Armitage is back, picks up possession for Bradford. And you've got to say, when you watch the Eagles' tries from Bussey and Riley, Brian Noble will certainly feel that Bradford could have done better. But at 70 points to 8, it's going to be all about that spotlight being on Bradford's attack. So, I do believe Hallis has just gone without the ball for the Bulls, so another error here for the Bulls. They're up to 4 now, 3 in quick succession. as we play down time here at Olympic Legacy Park. Sheffield 5 metres out from that Bradford try line. Butterworth. Good defence from Bradford. Sheffield held up. We go back to the 10. And we've got 5 minutes or so to go here at Olympic Legacy Park. Very, very gloomy here. Jordan Lilly still out there on the field, is he? Just having a bit of that bandage on the arm and a bit of that deep heat spray. Sheffield now with Will Oakes. Will Oakes has gone without the ball. Knock on. Wonga Blake, Ronan Michael, the two defenders there. And the game now, in the final few moments, has just got a little bit sloppy and scrappy. Attendance announced here, 1,344. That has been swelled by the travelling numbers that have come this evening from the Bradford Bulls. Bradford have the scrum 10 metres out from their own try line. Well, this has been a big boost to Bradford's points for and against this evening. This will now put the Bulls into second above Toulouse. Both will be on 32 points, and it all comes down to that game next Saturday, you feel. Albeit, do not underestimate the power of the bye weekends. York do not play next week, so Bradford, if they were to beat Toulouse, or if Toulouse were to beat Bradford, they would narrow the gap on the league leaders, York Knights, to just 2 points with 2 games to go, and York still have to go face Doncaster. Bradford now in possession, 20 shy of halfway. Keys to Hooley on this main stand side. Blake's gone without the ball, picked up by Oakes. 0 tackle on the Eagles. And as we said earlier, it's just gone a little bit scrappy in the final 6 or 7 minutes. We've had 3 errors from the Eagles. We've just had 4 errors from the Bulls. So we praised Bradford's completion rate. It would have been in the high 90s. It's probably now in the mid 80s after those 4 quick fire errors. The latest one from Wonga Blake. Sheffield, though, still not giving up the ghost. All about consolation score here now before the visit of Paul Cook's Featherstone Rovers here next Sunday afternoon. Danny Craven kicks early, inviting Manny Jawson-Jones to put pressure on Hooley. And Hooley's forced dead in goal. Well, Sheffield, they're not going down without a fight. It's a 4th goal line dropout, remarkably, that the Eagles have forced on the Bulls. Bradford just going through the motions, you feel.
The match chosen by Mr. Chris Noble, MBE, is the Eagles number 30, Martin Riley.
Still remains Sheffield Eagles 8, Bradford Bulls 70 here at Olympic Legacy Park. This, the 4th goal line dropout that the Eagles have forced on the Bulls this evening. Jordan Lilly able to continue for those who were a little bit concerned. Clearly not affecting him right here, right now. As we said, he's got a bit of strapping on the right arm, and show the physio with a deep heat. Sheffield now. Harry Bowes out of acting half. What can the Eagles do here in the closing moments of this game? 2 minutes, we think, remaining. Butterworth now. Harry Bowes to Martin Riley. Disappointing result, but personally for Martin Riley, he's come up with his first score in Sheffield colours after rejoining the Sheffield club, and he won't thank me for putting the commentator's curse on him there, Martin Riley, because he's just knocked the ball on. 10 metres out from the Bradford line, which now takes the Eagles up to double figures in errors for the evening. That's their 10th. Well, it certainly will not be this easy for Bradford next Saturday against Toulouse Olympique, as Sylvain Houlez brings 3rd place Toulouse to Odsel. Well, the hooter sounds, and the final act will be Kieran Gill, brought down 10 metres out underneath his own post. Full time here at Olympic Legacy Park. Brian Noble and the Bradford Bulls, they arrived here